All right, you know how we cats are, right? Always got to be on top of the latest shiny thing.
It's a perfectly natural instinct. Curiosity, after all, is what keeps us sharp.
And speaking of things that have piqued our curiosity lately,
Mhm.
have you seen what the humans are up to with this whole XR and spatial computing business?
Indeed, it seems they're finally catching on to what we've known all along, that spatial awareness is key.
Exactly. Knowing where things are, how they're moving, it's like the ultimate game of chase the laser pointer.
Speaking of humans who get it, have you seen Lauren Bedal's work?
Oh, absolutely. She's the cat's meow when it comes to making tech understand us, not the other way around. First at Google ATAP, now at Archetype AI, she's really pushing the boundaries of human-computer interaction.
And it's a much-needed shift, wouldn't you say? Instead of us having to meow commands at our devices all day long.
Right. I mean, who has the time or the energy for all that vocalization? I'd much rather just flick my tail and have things happen.
Precisely, it's all about moving towards more subtle, more intuitive ways of interacting. Like how we communicate with a twitch of the ear or a flick of the whisker.
Now, that's what I call a perfectly seamless interaction.
Hmm.
But enough with the hypotheticals. Let's dig into some specifics, shall we? What's this I hear about a little something called Soli?
Ah, Soli, a tiny radar chip. Smaller than a whisker, but with the potential to sense motion around your device with incredible precision.
So, like, it can tell if I'm reaching for my phone or just casually passing by.
Exactly. And because it uses radar, it works even in the dark. No more fumbling for buttons in the middle of the night. Just a flick of the wrist and poof, the alarm is snoozed.
Now you're speaking my language. But hold on, it's not just about these simple gestures, is it? There's this whole other level of what they call implicit behavior that Soli can supposedly tap into.
Precisely. Think about how you instinctively push away your food bowl when you've had enough, or how you swat at a dangling toy without even thinking about it.
You're saying our natural instincts can be translated into a language that devices can understand. Now that's fascinating. So if I swap my paw towards my phone, it knows I want to interact with it, and if I push my paw away, it knows I'm done.
You're getting it. And it goes beyond just mimicking our actions. It's about the device understanding your intent based on your movement. Like when you rub against a human's leg, they know you're seeking attention, right? So Foley wants to give devices that same level of social intelligence.
Ooh, social intelligence. Tell me more. This is getting interesting.
Well, it's not about turning your phone into a furry friend, although that would be rather delightful. It's about making technology more aware of your presence and your level of engagement.
So, like, it knows when you're actually paying attention to it versus when you're just casually strolling by.
Precisely. Vidal and her team have identified 3 states that Soli can recognize: aware, engaged, and active. Aware means the device senses someone is nearby. Engaged means you're leaning in, reaching out, showing interest. And active means you're directly interacting with the device.
Okay, so it's like different levels of alertness, almost like how we cats are always attuned to our surroundings.
Gotcha.
But how does this actually play out in real life? Give me some examples.
Well, think about how your behavior changes depending on the context. You might act differently at a crowded cat party than you would lounging at home alone, right?
You're saying our devices could adapt in similar ways,
Exactly. So, for example, if you're deeply engrossed in a cat nap,
which, let's be honest, is a very important activity.
quite, your phone wouldn't dare interrupt you with a notification. It would know to be discreet, maybe just vibrate gently.
And if I'm, say, prowling around the kitchen looking for a midnight snack, my smart speaker might proactively suggest some tasty tuna recipes. Now you're talking my language.
Precisely. It's about creating technology that is more considerate and respectful of your time and attention,
Yeah.
rather than constantly vying for it. Now, speaking of being considerate, let's talk about proxemics. Now, proxemics, it's all about personal space, you see.
Ah, yes, that invisible bubble we cats have.
Yeah.
You get too close. Hiss.
Precisely. And humans, well, they have these spatial zones too, though maybe not quite as well defined.
So, like, how close you are to someone changes how you interact with them. Makes sense. But how does a device figure that out?
That's where our friend Soli comes in and all this spatial awareness. Imagine a device, right, that not only senses you're there, but how far away you are, how you're moving. It could, adjust how it behaves, kind of like a well-behaved house guest, respecting your space.
Ooh, I like where this is going. So if I'm all snuggled up on the couch, my phone's not going to blast me with a notification at full volume. Maybe just a gentle vibrate.
Exactly. Or let's say you're across the room giving your human those feed me stares.
The ones that never fail, right?
Of course. Your smart speaker, it could lower its volume so it doesn't interrupt those very important communications.
Now, that is a considerate device, but it's more than just being polite. Yeah. This spatial awareness could make our interactions with tech way smoother, more efficient.
Absolutely. Take, for example, smart home controls. Imagine you just gesture towards a light, it turns on or off, no fumbling for switches, no need to even vocalize.
Ooh, or how about this? You're baking some, let's say, catnip cookies with your human. The smart display, it sees who's closer and adjusts the recipe accordingly. No more squinting at tiny text.
Precisely. The tech adapts to what's happening, what you need, like having a personal assistant who just gets you without you lifting a paw.
Speaking of personal assistants, what about voice control? Does this spatial stuff change that game too?
Well, think about how annoying it is when you're having a private chat with your human and the smart speaker butts in, thinks you're talking to it.
Ugh, the worst. Like, dude, can't you see I'm having a moment here? A little spatial awareness would be much appreciated.
Exactly. With this, smart speakers, they get much better at knowing who's talking from where, and they can use your location to give you, more helpful info.
So instead of just play some music, it's play some music for napping. And since I'm curled up in my sunbeam, it knows exactly what I mean.
Precisely. It's about more than just following commands. It's about understanding what you want.
This all sounds pretty promising, but are there actually examples of this stuff out in the world? Or is this all still, feline fantasy?
Well, we mentioned Soli in the Google Pixel 4, right? But there's more. Some newer smart speakers, they're using spatial awareness already to improve their voice stuff. And there are even some experimental devices that track your gaze and change what they're showing based on that.
Ooh, gaze tracking. Now that would really get my attention. Imagine the possibilities for gaming. Just follow the red dot with your eyes and off you go.
Indeed, the potential, it's vast. Entertainment, productivity, even making our homes safer, more accessible. This spatial awareness, it's poised to really change how we interact with tech.
It's like we're on the edge of a whole new era of human-computer interaction. More intuitive, more natural, maybe even a little bit more feline, wouldn't you say?
Perhaps. But before we get too carried away with all this shiny new tech, we should probably take a moment to think about the downsides too. Even the most playful kitten, well, curiosity can lead to trouble.
Oh, right, like that time I accidentally shredded the curtains chasing a laser pointer.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe a little caution is a good thing. What sort of things should we be watching out for?
Well, as our devices get more and more aware of, well, us and what we're doing, we got to be careful about data privacy. Imagine, like, every twitch of your tail, every ear swivel, it's all being recorded and
Yeah,
analyzed.
that's a bit creepy, isn't it? Like, I don't need some big corporation knowing every time I sneak a midnight snack. What can we do to protect our privacy with all this spatial awareness stuff?
Well, transparency is a big one. Companies got to be upfront about what data they're collecting, what they're doing with it. And we
Hmm.
need control, right? We should be able to say no to tracking or delete our data if we want.
So like a scratching post for our data,
Yeah.
a place where we decide what gets collected, how it's used. I like that.
Yeah.
But even with all the right safeguards and everything, isn't there still a chance this tech could be, well, kind of overwhelming? I mean, us cats, we do like our peace and quiet.
Absolutely. And that's where this whole calm technology idea comes in. It's about designing these devices so they're, respectful of our time, our attention, not constantly bombarding us with stuff.
So instead of my phone, like, meowing at me every 5 minutes, it just kind of purrs when I've got a message.
Yeah.
And my smart speaker only chimes in when I actually need something, not just because it's feeling chatty.
Exactly. It's about tech that fits into our lives instead of, taking over, like a well-trained house cat, right? Always there when you need him, but also happy to just chill out and let you do your thing.
Now that's a future I can get behind.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this little deep dive into the world of XR and all this spatial computing, what are your big takeaways for our fellow feline tech enthusiasts out there?
First, don't be afraid to, explore all the possibilities. This stuff has the potential to make our lives easier, more fun, more connected. But also, you got to be aware of the downsides, right? Guard your privacy, set some boundaries, and don't settle for tech that doesn't respect your need for a little peace and quiet now and then. And most importantly, remember that playful curiosity, that's what makes us cats such great explorers.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh.
So there you have it, folks, a peek into the future of human-computer interaction, inspired by, well, us. It's a future where technology adapts to us, not the other way around. A future with that perfect balance of, connection and comfort. Until next time, may your adventures in XR be filled with purrs and light.